Welcome to Coffee and Joy. So excited to have you all here. Happy New Year. It is 2025. I am so excited, so elated to have the one and only Nathaniel. Of course, he's here to teach us all about hair. What is it about hair? Of course, this is a continuing conversation forever and for life. Long as you have some type of string or strand or hairs or edges, it's always great to know about hair. So after these messages, we're going to continue. We're going to talk to my guest, Nathaniel, all things hair. Hair is me. Hair is you. So stay tuned.
That's are the bomb. Make sure that you hit the PayPal QR code and so that you can find out more about these Q sets and so much more. Let's get to working out.
Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. I'm going to bring on my guest, Nathaniel, as we talk about all things hair. Oh, no. Here you go. Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It is, yes, you better bring it. Coffee is life. Let me tell you.
It is, and I'm living blessed.
Yeah. Hey, yes.
Yes.
We're going to jump right in. If you could tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to continue. We're going to start talking about hair. How did you get into hair and the love of hair?
Well, my name is Nathaniel J. As my host so eloquently put. I have been a hairstylist for at least license. We're going to say license because we don't want to, people are hairstylists, but license for about 22 years now. And I've worked in the salon and I branched out into film and television and theater and all the things, runway and, print modeling and all the things. So I'm just excited and elated to be doing what I love and happy to be here with you, Joy.
So glad to have you.
Yeah.
So how did you get into hair? Because I think hair it's like you can't mess up.
Right.
You can't go wrong with hair. Like, how did you get into hair? Where did the love erupt? And what is your best thing about doing hair?
It started when I was young. I mean, middle school, maybe even prior to that. As a young boy, my mother used to drag me to the salon with her, getting her hair done. And most boys at that age are very rambunctious and they don't want to be in the salon. But me, I was very like, I want to go, and I was like so into watching the women just be very creative. Because I mean, back then that was the '90s, and black hair was very all about sculpture and structure and ponytails and finger waves and French rolls, and I was amazed by that. I mean, of course, hair is a little bit more simplistic now in such a way. But I think the main thing about doing hair, what I love and what I enjoy is just the transformation. I cannot make you happy about who you are, but if I can bring some type of beauty or some type of smile on your face that allows you to tap into that joy, then I'm all for it. I'm here to save marriages and build confidence, and that's all I can do. And I think that's just my joy with it. Yeah.
Yes, because the crown you wear definitely brings you much confidence.
And
Now,
that's it.
what is the favorite thing about doing hair? Like, what is your number one top tier? That's something that you can't, like, if somebody say, hey, I want you to make me a unit, aka wig, right?
Mhm.
What is your love about hair, especially when it comes to Black woman hair?
So I think when okay, this is a two-part question or a two-part response.
Mhm.
So in the salon, I love the challenge of when a client comes in and says, "Listen, my hair is damaged. I heat damage, chemical damage. I've been sick. I've been stressed out. What can I do? What can you do for me to build the health back?" So I love those challenges. I love when women come in and says, no one has been able to do this. So I pull up my mixtures and my concoctions and I love when the hair is flowing and it's growing. And all black women have this idea that their hair should be long, but long hair doesn't equate healthy hair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Healthy hair is good hair, and I don't believe in the good hair, bad hair phenomenon either. Um, as it pertains to film, television, or theater, I love when I'm building a wig that is so detailed that when the actor puts it on, they are just like, what? This is a wig? I feel so in character. And
Mhm.
sometimes actors, like the people who come see the show, they be like, that was her hair, right? No, that was a wig. And she has locks under it. So that makes it even more fun. The fact is that what's underneath the wig is kind of hidden under there, and we create this whole new look and this character that is so fun, and I find that it brings me so much joy.
And
Yeah.
so now you skated over into, to the film production world. Now, do you have autonomy of doing the hair your way, or you follow the script as you're preparing this hairstyle for each character, whether male or female?
So the process is when you're designing a show for theater, the main thing is to read the script.
Mm.
And there's something called character development, and it's the same thing with film. You're building this character. What demographic is this character? What age group? What time period? Is it a
Mm.
period piece? Is it set in the 1920s? And then you have a conversation with the costume designer
Yeah.
and the director, and then because they also are visionaries and they're also telling this story along with you. Some directors will be like, you know what, Nathaniel, I trust you. I trust your vision. I want you to do this. And then some directors or some costume designers will be like, well, I don't have an idea for the ensemble,
Yeah.
but I do have an idea for the principals or the
Mm.
main character in this story. And I want her to be a redhead, or I
Mm.
want her to be a brunette. And it just depends on the flow of the story, and it also depends on the actor. Would a redhead look good on her skin complexion?
Mm.
Will that really bring out the hues in her undertones? So there's a conversation, there's a dance that is
Yeah.
happening, and it's truly a collaboration. So it's a process. A lot of people don't understand that so much goes on behind the scenes. To put on this entertainment for the audience. But once it's done and you see everybody on stage, it is an accomplishment, and I am so excited about it. I
Yeah.
love it.
And you made a good point, because clearly we see the end, right? You're in the beginning and the middle, right? We
Right.
see the we no, we don't see the beginning. We may see the beginning, the title, but we don't see the in between. And I think
Hmm.
people get misconstrued, like you stated, about the color and undertone. I know for a fact, speaking for me and the other million people that's out there that's listening to this podcast, we don't think about the color undertone. We just say,
Mm-mm.
hey, we want this is it. But as a hairstylist, you're going in detail to really think about that and really try to match the style with this individual, the colors. Wow, I never would have thought that. Like, would red look good on this person? Will it bring out the undertones, like you stated? Because I would never have thought that. I thought, okay, like you stated, you go along with the director,
Mm.
the executive producer who's over the show. This is what has to be, on this individual, and not knowing that, hey, it may not work, because it's great that you're able to have that autonomy to really
Mhm.
direct on their hairpiece. Now, what is your time frame and be able to do someone's hair when it comes to production, and or to do a wig or a unit, try to transform this individual into character?
It really depends on budget. It
Mm.
really depends on budget. It really depends
Mm.
on the team. Sometimes I have 6 months, sometimes I know a year in advance. Sometimes, Joy, I'm honestly, I won't I'll get a call weeks sometimes in advance. Like it'll be a month, maybe 2 weeks before a show. Oh my God, we lost a wig designer. Is there
Mm.
any way that you could jump on board on this production and help us out? But I do believe that if you have some sense of guidance
Yeah.
and you're quick and you're quick with moving and you're able to pivot quickly, if you know the story, if it's your wheelhouse,
Mhm.
I think that you can jump on board pretty quickly. Something that is a period piece, like a Shakespearean piece, can
Mm.
be a little bit difficult because those pieces um take a look, they're very nuanced, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it takes a little bit more time, a little bit more research. But something that would say, okay, it's 1992, it's set in 1992. We know what that is. Like we know what the 90s is. So I'm quick to like, okay, I know what I can do with this. I can
Yeah.
pull some pieces really quick. I can, and honestly, with me being a wig designer and working on other productions,
Yeah.
I have a wig stock.
Mm.
And so a lot of times, a lot of theaters are looking for people who have their own stock because
Mm.
they don't have the budget to
Yeah.
purchase more or to build more. So as a wig designer, if you have your own stock, they can rent that stock from you while they're doing that production. And that's extra funds for you as well. But the time period can vary. It really
Gotcha.
can vary. So yeah, you just have to be quick. And it's up to you. It's your choice if you want to take on the project if you don't feel like you have enough time.
Now, see, doing this project, and I know it's probably, going from East to West Coast, like what has been your ups and downs? Like what has been your most challenging, either, you getting from North Carolina to California, or,
Mhm.
hey, North Carolina to Georgia. What has been your time span in getting to a production, if such, and be able to do that hair? Because I know you have a repertoire. Of course,
Yeah.
you have a CVS receipts where people like, hey, I need to call Nathaniel. You're like probably top three in the Rolodex where we need to call. But what is
Yeah.
your time span? What has been your ups and downs in trying to get to these production to make sure that the hairstyle, the individual feels comfortable in this style that you're giving them?
Oh man, let me tell you, sometimes I have literally like jumped on a plane and hit the ground running. Like I'm grabbing my tools, it's a carry-on, getting off the plane, and I'm running straight to the theater. And we're doing fittings and we're doing measurements. Sometimes the wigs are mailed to the theater ahead of time, so they beat me there and I meet them there. What you want. And that is something else that has happened in the past with some designers. Like they think that they have enough time with the mail system and they mail wigs and they get to the theater. I'm like, oh my God, the wigs are not here. So I make sure that I mail those wigs ahead of time and make sure that they're already at the theater before I get there. Some stuff can be somewhat pre-styled, or you can get the bases of the wig kind of laid out. And so therefore you can just comb it out. But you just have to be ready to go. There have been times where I worked on film, flew into Baltimore with one film I worked on. I flew in at midnight. My call time was at 4:45 a.m. to be on set. So that was really no time to get any rest. You just have to be ready. You have to be ready, and you have to be Celsius up. I don't know if you drink Celsiuses, but they give you that that energy that you need if you don't have time for coffee. But yeah, it can, a lot of the production sometimes, if the budget is there, they will provide you housing. They will provide you a flight as well. One theater when I worked in Phoenix, they provided me a car and somewhere to stay while I was designing as well. So it just depends, and it's really all about what you're negotiating, because this is your gig, and you have needs and you have wants, and you have to fight for those things. And sometimes money is an issue, and
Yeah.
those are the challenges sometimes that comes in, is negotiating a contract and negotiating what you feel as your worth
Yeah.
for this opportunity.
Well, because really, I think a lot of people don't think about that, right? They just see the end and not
Hmm.
knowing what comes to the end. Like,
Right.
I got to get there, I got to eat, I got to rest, I got to get there, not knowing that I have this. Now, you're designing hair and putting everything together. Have
Mhm.
you ever designed something where it was against knowing that, hey, you may have done a 90 hairstyle when it was really supposed to be something from the 20s? Have you ever fell into that where you had to completely just change script in the midst? Because once hair is done, I feel like that's it. We
Oh
just
no. Oh no, you this is something that was the biggest challenge for me coming
yes.
into this design world, is having to pivot when they tell you that this is not what we want, or
Yeah.
this is not fitting the character, or they may tell you that they want something and you do it and then they realize, uh this is not what we want now. And you do have to be quick. You have to be, and sometimes you're up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning restyling a wig because something just didn't fit. So those are the challenges. Those are the downfalls. And hopefully you have a strong team with you, or you just have the energy to be able to just jump back up and be able to do it. But that comes with the process.
Yeah.
You have to be ready for the constructive criticism. It is not personal. It is business. And your feelings might be hurt, deal with it in the moment and move on and get that wig restyled, because we got a show to do. And if the people at hand, those people at the top, those dignitaries are not happy, you may not be asked back. So you got to do what you got to do. You got to be ready for that, but that comes with the process. And that's why it's so good to have conversations and really, really, really be vocal about what this character really needs, and how do you see this character, and really bringing the actor in too, because the actor
Yeah.
really somewhat has a bit of an opinion too. We try not to bring the actor in too much, because they can be a little bit too controlling. But I like to make everybody feel welcomed, and
Right.
everybody is a part of this story that we're telling, you know? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest Nathaniel. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. We're going to continue to hear about the hair and the production. Like, wow, so much is entail. And keep in mind, if there's a question that you may have, please let us know in the comments. I know for sure he will love to answer them. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest Nathaniel about all things hair.
Audience, have no fear. Advertise your business on our podcast. Connect with us, the Coffee with Joy Talk Show podcast, and let's grow together. Email us, and we surely look forward to hear from you.
Welcome to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all. We're going to bring my guest Nathaniel back on. Wow, you really fed us. Yes. You better drink that coffee /
Living blessed, living blessed.
Yes, yes. I mean, you gave us such a mouthful about the hair and production because a lot of people don't know that. They just see when they go to Broadway or they're on film, they just see and they may see a little, probably a 30 seconds on reel of what a person who does hair and say, oh, okay, not knowing that it really takes a whole village just to create this crown, just to put this piece together. And to make matters great, you have to do multiple heads.
Yeah.
So how does that fall into place when your time is very restricted and you have multiple heads? What has been your ups and downs with that?
So it goes back to the production and their budget and what they have. I'm giving you a prime example. I designed Dream Girls in Phoenix. Beautiful show, great cast. But unfortunately, that theater did not have, they didn't have a wig team. They had no hair people. They had no one. The costumes were helping to put on wigs, and costumes don't do wigs. Costumes do wardrobe. They put on costumes.
Yeah.
So that's their wheelhouse. So, and if of course you're familiar with Dream Girls is it goes through a time period of 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s. And so I think when I counted, I had about 80 wigs altogether, 80 wigs, and that's including understudies and the swings. And I had to style every last one of them myself because there was nobody there. So I think, just for those who are listening, if you ever have any type of aspirations about being a wig designer, the goal is to make sure that you're building a good team of skilled people. And I love having other people on my team who are even more talented than I am.
Yeah.
Because you need to utilize those people around you. And really, the teamwork does make the dream work. And honestly, having a strong team helps you navigate this journey and allows you, and if you can delegate well, you have to know how to delegate in this process and say, listen, I can't do this right now. I'm focused on this. Can you do this? But unfortunately, that wasn't the case with this particular theater. We got it done. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But that's not something that I look forward to unless it's a smaller show. And I don't mind working by myself, but I enjoy working with others. I enjoy working with other talent. And I encourage designing shows where there's people there that can help. So we don't have to be there till 3:00 in the morning, styling hair. Yeah.
As much as we want to believe that it's all rosies and, red wine, white wine type ordeal, working with people can be a challenge, right? Especially when you have the vision and trying to bring this vision to light after reading papers, after talking to the team, but somebody on the team wants to go against the grain.
Yeah.
How do you combat that just to make sure when again, your time is restricted? How do you combat that with the individual who probably sees something different on the team, on the hair team, if that's the correct terminology, that have you ever fell into that component, and how did you arrive to a safe place, basically?
So as a prime example, I've been on the other side where I was a crew person, what we call them the crew, where you may have a vision and you might see something and you're like, well, why don't we do this? And you have to know your place. And I have to say it's, and that's not being mean at all. You just have to know your position, and you have to know that as a crew person, if you're running a show, that you're not the designer. That's not your place to say, hey, I don't like this, or I don't think that you should do that. So people want to work with individuals more when you're able, when they can work with you and you're easy to work with.
Yeah.
We may have all these ideas because listen, I was that person who was like, well, why don't you do it like this? And listen, somebody had to tell me, okay, I love your idea. I think that's great, but this is not what the director wants.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not your place.
Yeah.
Unless you have a good relationship
Mm-hmm.
with a wig designer, and if they ask you, hey, what do you think of this? Do you have any input? Then that's when your opinion is warranted. You know what I'm saying? So, but you do have to be respectful of other people's designs and
Mm-hmm.
other people's authority. And I try to pull people aside and extend grace,
Yeah.
especially those who are green and they don't really know much about the arena. Pull them aside and say, hey, I really do. And you want everyone to feel
Yeah.
welcome, and you want everybody's opinion to be like, listen, I love that idea, and maybe we will incorporate that at some point. It's like you have to sandwich a compliment and a thank you and a
Yeah.
chastise and all in
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Well, because you don't want to be mean because people don't know. And
Yeah.
if you don't know, you don't know. You know what you don't know. So yeah, I don't mind teaching and pulling people aside because someone didn't do it for me, and then some people did do it for me in a
Right.
roundabout way. So it's a challenge. Dealing with personalities is always hard. That
I
is
think
that is
yeah.
biggest issue. That's one of the biggest issues with anything when it pertains to the arts is
Yeah.
dealing with personalities.
And you try to be creative because everyone's trying to put their signature on it to say, yes, I
Yeah,
did that, my je ne
yeah,
sais quoi, I want that. But at the end of the day, not knowing, hey, this is for the collective, not just for me, but for the collective.
right.
And those personalities jumps out. So, but again, it takes time, like you stated, to help individuals who are green, who really, but you have to be willing to learn,
Yes,
and really take away the facade of trying to show, hey, I am top, I am the end and all and be all. So really that takes time. I can see that. I can really say because again, hair is, and again, to me, hair is something that you just can't just reverse in a matter of seconds if it's already
right.
done, right? Because I've seen some of your videos and some of the detail that you put together. And of
Hmm.
course, it's speeded up, but I know it takes time. And I can't
Yeah,
just imagine to undo that, knowing
yeah,
that's saying, "Hey, that's not it," and you're like,
yeah.
"Really?
You,
I am."
it's like cringing. It's like cringing. Like, what you mean you don't like it? I worked hard on this. You don't like it? Oh God, I'm gonna die. Help.
Emphasize, work hard, like
Yeah,
literally, because you're sitting there at a fast pace watching it. So I know, imagine you putting this piece together, and it's for someone to say, not quite. But
that's
now,
right.
what is your favorite as we move from off of the production? What has some of the things that the actor and actresses have stated or told you about the hair? Because I know it's like you say, like transformation, the confidence, what
Yeah,
have they told you to make you feel great knowing that you've taken your time, you're really taking someone else's vision and bringing it to life?
yeah,
Because like you stated, you have to read, you have to be very detailed, and you're planting this blueprint in your head, hoping that it match what this individual. Because some people just can't articulate. Some
yeah,
people can give detail. I just want a hairstyle. Well, do you want it black, 4C? Do you want it
yeah.
straight? Even in writing, even in
Hmm.
writing or verbal, some people just cannot explain. And then when
Right.
you take what they've given you, fragments, they
Hmm.
like, no, that's not what I want. Well, that's what you said. So,
Right.
what have some of the actor and actresses have told you about the once the finished product is done, whether positive or constructive criticism, because we don't believe in negative.
Right. For me, I love it's a combination of a multitude of things. Like working with women of color and men of color, being able to incorporate, their textures and their coils into the design is really beautiful. And the fact is that they see themselves. Like I think there was one actor that I worked with, actress that I worked with on Broadway, and I had styled a wig for her, and she put it on, and she got emotional. Not she didn't get emotional because it was ugly. She got emotional because, oh my gosh, she said, I look like my mother. And
Mm.
she says, this is how my mother looked when she was in her 20s and her early 30s. And she pulled up a picture. And that's exactly what, and I didn't even know it. It was just, she said, this is how my mother wore her hair. And she says, I look like her. And you know, sometimes when you hear things like, oh, I look like my mom, you think like, oh, you must look like an old lady. But no,
Mhm.
she said, I look like the young version of my mother. Thank you so much for, I hear people say, thank you so much for just asking questions and taking
Yeah.
time, because I like to sit and have meetings with my actors
Yeah.
and say, hey, you know, what are some of the things that you like? What are some things that you don't like? You know, what products do you like? Are you allergic to anything?
True.
Because that they are such a value to this production,
Yeah.
and they have to be seen, they have to be heard, and oftentimes a lot of actors are overlooked. And
Mm.
I try to, like, you know, in that stigma that, you know, you don't matter, your hair doesn't matter, your texture doesn't matter, you as an individual doesn't matter, and you do absolutely matter. And I just try to do the best that I can as a designer, because this is servitude for me, you
Yeah.
know, and it does bring, again, joy, but a sense of satisfaction, and I feel like I'm doing what I need to be doing and doing what I should be doing,
Yeah.
when I hear that, you know, and it's building a relationship. And when
Yeah.
those actors like you, they will speak your name in rooms that you do not have access to. And
Yeah.
that I love, you know.
1,000%. And that is,
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's out there. God gonna put your name in places. You hear
Woo,
me? Put your name in places that you don't
places.
even know. Because you're gonna wake up with a phone call like, how, don't even know how. But God has already planted. And those are the small seeds when you do good by people, people continue to grow your
Yeah,
name in positive and
yeah.
great things happen, you know. So now that you're here, what is the ultimate thing that you would like to do, even if it's in production or beyond with hair? What is that? Where do Nate see himself in the next 5 years?
Oh man, you know, I
If not even
really,
before.
I really would love to get more into film. You know, film
Mm,
film is getting kind of tricky. You know, it's not really back 100% like it was. You know, the strikes and since COVID, it's just been a tricky thing, and a lot of the filming is going overseas now, which a lot of people are not happy about.
mm,
But I have not actually designed Broadway show. I've done off Broadway. I've done regional. I have not designed a Broadway show. So that is on my bucket list. I want to design a Broadway show, and I claim it that it's going to be big. It's going to be huge, and God is going to align the stars, and it's going to
amen.
happen. And yeah, I'm just excited about it. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. But yeah, I don't. I just want to continue to paint the world with creativity and excitement. And I want to be a beacon of light that you too can do it, because no one told me that I could do this. If you told me this when I was 18 years old, I would have been like, I ain't gonna be able to do that. I don't have the skill to do that. What, I can't do that. And here I am some years later. I'm like, you're doing it.
Yeah,
You absolutely are. Even when it becomes challenging,
yeah,
because this career is not always, it's not always peachy, you know, and there
yeah,
are some downs, you know, and those downs sometimes can make you feel like you want to quit.
yeah. I bet.
But you see that excitement, and you see those actors on stage, and they're trolloping around, and you were like, that's all right. I think I got a little bit more in me to keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now to conclude our show, because again, thank you so much, Nate. But what
Yeah,
keeps you going through prayer, affirmation, scripture? What keeps you going? Because, like you stated, it has its downs, but
yeah.
it's this one little drop of something that keeps you going to say, you know what, I'll give it another try. I know I got some scars, but I'm okay. I could keep going. What keeps Nathaniel going?
So I walked into this new year with the mindset of community.
Mm,
I believe in community, and I believe in surrounding yourself around people who want to see you win, who are pouring into you when your cup is half full or when it's empty, or someone who can say, that's enough. It's time for you to pull back. It's time for you to sit down. Those who are advocating for you. That's the real part. That's the part that keeps you going. Because at night when you are struggling and you are stressed out, it's rough when you don't have anybody to talk to or to share these or share these issues with. Sometimes all you need is just somebody to talk to and hear yourself talking, and you already have your answer. They don't even have to say anything. You just want somebody to just listen. But community is so important. I always tell people, do an inventory on your circle.
yeah,
Make sure that the people around you are rooting for you, and that are also pulling you aside when they say, "Hey, friend, that went right.
Yeah.
Friend, that went right." And I'm going to tell you that because you don't want a yes ma'am and a yes sir around you all the time. You want people around you who are going to call you out and say, "Absolutely not. I'm going to hold you accountable because you said you were going to do this last year
Yeah.
and you need to do it this year. So how can I help you achieve that?" That's
Yeah.
the type of community and the
Yeah.
circle that I want around me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I put that out there. Check your circle, find you a circle. It doesn't have to be 15, 20 people. It
Yeah.
can be 2 or 3 people that just hold you accountable and keeps you grounded. And prayer. I believe in prayer. To whatever God you may pray to,
Yeah.
that's your business. But whatever keeps you grounded, I'm all for it.
There you have it, people. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
2025 is the year of bringing it to life. It is
Period.
coming. It is happening. God says so. We believe it. It is in prayer. It is already done. You just got to walk into it. You
Amen.
already have to walk into it. So, Nathaniel, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Joy. So excited, so ecstatic. So please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. I am so grateful to have my guest, Nathaniel. Please make sure if there's anything that you'd like to know about hair and production. I mean, he gave such plethora of information, and there's so much more that we could talk about, but please, it may be a part 2, right? But if you have a question on if you are a hairstylist, how can you get into it? Because again, we have to start pivoting. This is 2025. There's no more talking about it. Now we have to be about it. But how we be about it, we have to strategize. We have to put things in place in order to get us to our next level and get you some friends, like he stated. Get you a circle that is going to hold you accountable as well as you hold your friends accountable. That's how we all achieve, and that's how we all become one. So if you like to patronize our company, please make sure that you follow the QR codes. Please make sure any will help monetize our company. So as always, if it's a weekday or weekend, it is Coffee with Joy. Happy New Year. Let's go strong. We are in the first month. We about to tear this year up and become millionaires. Yes, we are. Amen. I said it, and we are. So until then, live life on purpose. See you all soon. Have a blessed night.